His name is Mende Cukalevski, and he's making his second trip to the cage January 21st. Here he is, folks. What's happening, sir?
How's it going?
What's going on, man?
Good,
I'm Mish. That's Mike. This is the Mike and Mish show. Mission accomplished.
Nice to
Good
meet
to have you on.
Good to be here. You said my last name correctly, so that's a plus.
Is your name not Mende? Mende?
The last name, Cukalevski. Most people
Cukalevski.
say it, but you got it.
All right, cool. When you told me that I said your last name right, I thought that insinuated that I said your first name wrong.
No, you said that. That one's usually easy.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, me and Mike are going to be up there on the 20th and 21st covering the weigh-ins and the event. We're really looking forward to this, looking forward to meeting all you guys and seeing one of the Cage Wars events live. We went back and I watched your debut fight against Luis Melendez.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, dude, when they were introducing the two fighters coming out, right? I'm going to pick on Ben Field for a second here. Those guys were sweating your opponent's nuts like bad, right? They're like, he wakes up in the morning and has abs. And he's like,
He was almost on a Wheaties box, I think they said.
Yeah, I wish I could be in the shape that this kid's in. Bro, you were a professional bodybuilder, right? Like you looked like you could run through a fucking stone wall, and they're talking about your opponent. And then the fight happens and you just like powerhouse wrestled the shit out of him the entire fight, ground and pounding him in his ribs the entire time. It would have been nice if you could have done some real ground and pound, but you guys were doing the novice amateur rules. So 1 or 2 more fights, and I think you could start pounding people's faces, right? Am I wrong about this? Were they sweating your opponent? Were they downplaying you in that debut, Ben Field? Were you?
It was because he already had one fight, so they knew, he had a lot of hype coming into it, and they didn't know anything about me. So I'm kind of in the same situation now going into this fight. I don't really know much about my opponent besides that he's a wrestler, I guess, and he's a jiu-jitsu blue belt. So I'm sure they're going to be talking me now, and I'm talking my opponent. So, but I didn't mind it now. It's just I knew what I was in there to do, and I believe wrestling wins over anything out there, I guess, because at the end of the day, the fight's going to end up on the ground, and the better wrestler controls this. So,
now you've been a wrestler your whole life?
I wrestled, throughout high school. I moved to the United States in 2006 from Europe. I was 12. So then I started, getting into sports. I played soccer a little bit. Then I started wrestling. And yeah, I did bodybuilding when I was 19 for 5 years or so till 25, 26. And then I went back to basically jiu-jitsu and wrestling and striking. I've been striking for a couple of years now. So that's where I'm new at. I've never striked before. I'm getting better at it every day. But my wrestling's basically where it's at, man.
I want to take it back just a little bit because Kyle's talking about, that fight and them talking up your opponent. And they weren't the only people talking up your opponent. Because if you go over to Tapology, right, and I just took a screenshot real quick while he was talking about this, and we had talked about it earlier. Look at this.
I remember that, yeah.
13%. Now, that's 24 people. It's not like thousands of people here. But first of all, add that together. That's 101%. Doesn't make sense. So I don't get that at all. But what I do get is that 13% of those 24 people thought that you were going to win, and nobody fucking knew how. If you could really, look at that. Nobody fucking knew. They're like, I don't know. I'll just fucking flip a 3-sided coin. I don't know. And look at that, 88%. So how does it feel to fucking everyone is like, I don't think this guy's gonna win, and then you take it? That must feel good, no?
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea any of this. I guess Louis went to Tiger Muay Thai like in Thailand to train for this fight. I didn't know. I didn't even watch his first fight, to be honest with you, until like the last week. My girl was like, you might want to see a fight. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go in there and do my thing.
Yeah.
She kind of convinced me to watch it. So I watched it. And then, I didn't knew, when I went in there and take him down. And that was it, basically. Especially my first one, get my feet wet a little bit, see how it is. And this one's going to be a little different. So we'll see, I guess.
We have a boxing coach in the comments that says But did you get shot? Have you ever been shot before?
No.
No. Okay. All right. No. Our guest last evening told us a story about getting shot by his baby mama's
right.
Baby mama's brother. It was a wild, crazy story. If you want, go back and watch it. It was fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Fields says you're a bear wrestling motherfucker. So you don't know much about Northern other than he has a name like Northern, which is interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
He's a young guy. I know that. Like 22, I think, maybe. I think he's a blue belt. That's what I've heard. He's a blue belt, one stripe in jiu-jitsu. And he likes to wrestle, but I don't think he's wrestled in high school. So I don't know what that means. That's just what I've heard. But it doesn't matter, honestly. And whoever it is, I'm just gonna go in there and do whatever I do. And
yeah, I'm looking forward. So are you looking to try out some of the new striking that you've been working on? Or if you know this kid's a wrestler, he wants to try some wrestling with you, I wouldn't suggest it. After watching the first one, I was only a high school wrestler 22 years ago, so but I wouldn't suggest wrestling you.
You were good,
after
though, Kyle. You were good.
Yeah. Whatever. Good enough to join the army. I got one of them army scholarships where I had to go sign up for a sign-up bonus and then serve the country instead of getting free college.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I was all right. But nah, man, I was watching it and I would say like transition. He kept in your first fight, Melendez kept trying to transition and like shrimp out, and like, dude, he couldn't get out of your grasp the whole fight. So you definitely showed power. You worked his ribs. There was not a lot of stand up in that first fight. That's why I was wondering if you were going to try to implement some of your new tactics or just do what you know works.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to stand more with him this time, just because I want to test out my stand up. Last one, I don't even. I think I threw like one strike. If you watch the fight, there's like one or two strikes. So, and it was literally all wrestling. Took him down, and I couldn't strike to the head. So, this is my other fight. So after this one, I think I can strike to the head on the ground and no shin guards. So that's going to change the game a lot, I think.
Mende, how old are you?
Me, 27.
You're 27. How long you said you've been doing martial arts since you were 12? How long?
So I've been training. I've been an athlete my whole life. Martial arts. I wrestled all throughout high school. So 4 years after that, total of 6 years, I would say I've done martial arts overall. But I've been training, working out, lifting. I've been an athlete my whole life. So I'm involved in any aspect, honestly.
You moved to the U.S. in 2006?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it took you, I feel like, so I listened to your interview on Cage Wars, and you said it took you about 6 months to learn English. Do you understand? Like, I've been trying to learn Spanish for like 20 years.
But you don't live there. That's the thing. If you
and I'm horrible.
Yeah.
How the hell you do that?
When you're in the environment and people are speaking it around you, you pick it up faster. So you basically don't have a choice. So like if you were somewhere where they only spoke Spanish and you had no choice, you would have to pick it up. So first it starts with, I would understand what they were saying, but I couldn't say it back to them. So like I would get it, like I would get what they're saying, and I would look at them like crazy. Like I know what you're saying, but I don't know how to put the words to say it back. And then you learn it after a while. I don't know. Pick it up, I guess.
You know what, Mike?
Yeah.
We have a couple Polish soldiers that were in our unit. One of them has retired. The other one just got promoted. But Mario Zalewski, Mike, he didn't come to America till he was 19 years old. Never spoke a word of English before he came to America. We served with him for a long time. You would never know. He spoke like fluent, like he had a little accent, kind of like you do. But
right,
I'm like, man, how long have you, like, when did you move here? I thought he was going to say like, oh, when I was like 5. No, he was like, oh, I moved when I was 19 years old. I came over here, and I've been here ever since. I'm like, Jesus, dude,
is that scary? Like, is it kind of scary if you go somewhere and you don't know what anybody's saying? Everywhere you go, you just kind of feel like you're like, damn, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Nobody can understand me, and I don't understand anybody else. Like, how weird is that?
Yeah, it's weird, man. Shit.
Jeez. And Americans are assholes too. I feel like they're impatient all the time and stuff. Like, sometimes I get so aggravated living up here in Rhode Island. They're so mean.
Yeah.
What's Ben asking about? What's this fat cigar? What's that?
I don't know. Smoking. He's always smoking.
What do you do? Hey, what are you doing? Do you have a full-time job when you're not training? What do you do for a living?
Yeah, I do construction. I'm a welder. So by trade, I weld.
Nice.
But I'm also a plumber. So like the company I work for is a heating, cooling company. And when they need welders, basically on a job, they send me and I go weld. And right now we're doing plumbing. So I'm literally new construction plumbing right now.
Nice. So you're doing ACs and stuff like that? You weld in the lines for the AC?
Just the pipes. We weld just the water pipes or like the gas pipes, things like that.
Nice.
I'll tell you right now, welding. I told my nephew this. I said, man, go get a trade, become a welder, because there are few and far in between nowadays doing that trade. And like my buddy said, he's got one on call. Like if this guy gets called to a job, it doesn't matter if it takes him 45 minutes or it takes him 5 hours. And if it's off time, if it's off hours and he gets paid for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
He gets like $1,200 to show up and do a 45-minute job because you called him when he's off hours. I'm like, that sounds like
crazy. Yeah.
The craziest shit I've ever seen.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, right here. I think Joel's actually the guy that was telling me gas pipe welding, big smoke portal. Yeah.
They just had this big job now that opened up in Canada. I think it is. I just saw it. It's like a 3-month job. I think it's like 90 grand or some shit like that. It's like on a pipeline. I think it's just straight welding on a pipeline. But I think it's like you literally work in like 12 hours a day or 15 hours, some crazy shit.
Well, it's like, and isn't it like underwater welding, like a huge money? I don't know. Like I heard that's rare.
Yeah. That's more on the coastlines, like down by like Florida or like Virginia where they have the ships and shit. But yeah, that is, I haven't looked into that yet. Maybe down the road. I don't know. But that's a different beast. Because you gotta go through the whole diving program and all that and get certified on top of your welding certs, you know.
Yeah, and you can't drown, which is a big that's important. That's very important.
So Benfield just said, ask him about the picture I just sent you. And this is the picture that he is speaking of. Tell us about the picture.
That's my training partner, actually, right now. This was 2009, maybe.
The one flying?
The one flying is my training partner. Yeah, he's a big boy. He's what, like 215 now, maybe? Yeah, I'm 190. So, yeah, man, that was great. That was an off-season tournament. He was waving at his mom.
Hi, Mom.
Right before you dump him on his head.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, that's freaking great, man. Yeah, we're looking forward to this event. What was your first Cage Wars experience like? You made your debut a few months back. You're about to make. Was there a certain level of nerves that you had going into that one that you feel like you have shaken them off going into the second one?
So, how it was, man. So it was literally nothing, and then I get thrown into the UFC basically. That's how it felt for me, you know, because you get all the interviews, they were taking pictures, and it was like a UFC style weigh-in, and it was all like crazy, like when I see it, you know, on the TV, and it was literally right in front of me. So going into this time, I know what to expect at least now, so I can, you know, mentally prepare myself better. As far as the fight, you know, that's just I grind, I train every day, you know, so that's not a problem. I go in there and do my thing and get it done, you know.
You know, that's got to say,
yeah, sorry.
That's got to say something about the organization that you're fighting in. There's a lot of amateur organizations out there, but one that runs it in a professional style like that really prepares you for your future, when you do make that step to a bigger professional organization, you're not blinded by the fucking bright lights and the big crowds and the scary, the scary nerves of the big televised weigh-ins and all that shit. That's a huge shout out to Cage Wars on that one for prepping you guys right.
Absolutely. When I first started training and I asked who I should fight for, and all my training partners, they all said, Cage Wars was one of the best ones around. So that's literally who I went with first time, and looking to stick with them, for a while and see where we go.
You could see the development of their organization too. If you go back in their earlier events to now, they're on their 50th event. Yes. And like you said, it looks very professional. The cage looks great. The commentary's locked down now. They just the whole presentation is pretty fantastic. That's why me and Mike are very excited that we got invited to go up there and
super excited.
Do what we get
next
to
week, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're great, man. What they do with the videos and the the pay-per-views. I have a lot of people that can't make it, so they get it and watch it. I have family overseas that they watch it too. So it's great that they can stream it, so people that can't make it can actually see me perform out there,
Yeah, and even like the camera work, like the camera, the quality, the camera work is very professional compared to some of the other televised amateur events that you can watch, where like the camera.
I don't know if there are any. Are there any televised?
They're live streamed. Like if you can like live stream them on YouTube or live stream them on Facebook or wherever, Twitch or wherever these organizations are streaming their events. A lot more, way more times than you actually. The camera gets blocked by someone, or it's behind a fucking beam, or like you miss on. It's just like Cage Wars does it right, man. And if you go on YouTube and rewatch their fights, you'll see what I'm talking about for those who are in the chat.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure.
Yeah, man.
So, and I'm glad I'm going to be a part of this 50th, and I get to keep my gloves too. They just said that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Giving out.
Is there going to be like a commemorative like 50 on there or something?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything else.
Do they normally take the gloves back? Is that something that happens? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like a rule, or like I just figured you're using the gloves, you're sweating all over them and shit. They're getting used, so they're not new anymore. You know what I mean? It's like giving someone your underwear. Like, yeah, can I have that back after you use that?
Oh man, I shouldn't have said anything. Yeah,
that's good.
You could sell them on the internet, like OnlyFans girls sell their farts and shit. You could sell these gloves and
yeah, these gloves. I ate a hot dog, I punched someone in the face, and then I whacked off with these. Now you can have them.
Yo, that lady with the kid in the trunk, man. What is going on? Oh my God.
I don't know what somebody needs to go and fucking put her in a trunk and roll it down a fucking mountain.
Oh man, I couldn't.
Is that too far?
Yeah, man. I hope you enjoyed that segment. That's a segment that we.
No, that's funny.
we introduced Student Out of the Week a few months back, and it's been a hit. You know what I mean? I love scouring the internet for the 4 biggest fucking morons in the past week, and then exposing them for how dumb they are on the internet.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, so Mende, why don't we do a speed round with you? It's going to be 5 questions off topic. Maybe some of them are fight topic, but it's to let the audience get to know your personality a little more so they can become a bigger fan of yours. And I am assuming that your goal is to go pro at some point. Maybe Tuesday Night Contender Series or something like that is in your future, because we've only seen one of your fights, but you got skill, you got the body for it. You're a gigantic 170 guy who I heard can go down to 155, which if you can go to 155 with the build that you have right now, you are fucking going to be a Terminator at 155. I would imagine pro is the goal.
Yeah, that's the plan at 155.
All right, well, let's do this speed round with you, and let's get a little bit of your personality here. Number 1. And I wrote this one because of your background. What is the most important supplement that someone needs to have in their diet when training?
Supplement.
I would figure that you were a supplement guy, being a bodybuilder.
No, man. Honestly, I stick with real food. Like I tell
Really?
people all the time, yeah, just dieting. You know, real food, real meals. I take like multivitamins, things like that, like a multi, and maybe
Are you drinking like a dozen eggs in the morning out of a beer mug?
No, I used to do that back in the day when I used to eat like 6 times a day. Now I've turned my diet whole around, you know, just base it more towards fighting style, and because I'm training different now, you know. Back then I was training just for muscle, you know, just to be big and bloated. Now I'm training agility, you know. I do a lot of gymnastic work now, so I do like the rings and a lot of like body weight because I'm already big, you know. I don't need to put more muscle on. I just gotta basically work with what I have. Sorry, that was way too long.
No, that's cool.
No, it's definitely not too long.
No. And I'm glad you said that, because that is that's basically a page right out of GSP's book. Like, the greatest welterweight of all time trains like that. You know what I mean? Like, you watch his training videos, he's doing the rings and the fucking parallel bars, and he's doing backflips and shit.
Man, you don't know how strong you are until you get on those rings and try to like do a pull up or like a you'll be so you can bench 300-400 pounds, you know, but when you get on one of those things and you can't even do a muscle up or like a pull up, you're like, holy fuck, it changes.
Back in high school, one period a week, we had a thing called activity period, right? So it was like 45 minutes, and some people did chess, some people went and played basketball. There was a ton of different shit.
Would you say high school?
In high school, yeah.
Mike, that sounds like recess.
Yeah, it was one period, only one a week, right?
Yeah.
And there was all these different fucking things that people did. There was cheerleading, whatever the fucking people wanted to do, they did. They had all these different things. So there was gymnastics, right? And me and my buddies, we wanted to start breakdancing, right? Because we would breakdance.
Yeah.
And we said, yo, how could we do this? So the gym teacher's like, listen, just join the gymnastics one. They've got mats in there, so you can use the mats that are on the ground. And then, you know, you just bring a fucking boombox in there, play your music and breakdance. And then, you know, then there'll be gymnastics going on. So we were like, all right, whatever, you know, we'll just go off in the corner, not pay attention. Well, first of all, great idea, because
all the girls are doing gymnastics.
Right. Nothing but girls doing gymnastics. Okay. So listen, guy in high school, whatever, I'm like, holy shit. This is as soon as we walked in, we were like, this was the best thing we could ever done. Right. So we got the music going, we're breakdancing. So they're all interested in that. Right. But then on top of it, though, they have the rings in there. They have trampoline. They got the parallel bars. They've got the horse, you know? So like after we were there for a couple of weeks, we started trying to do that shit too, because like breakdancing kind of goes hand in hand with gymnastics. I mean, all the floor moves and the horse, like you actually had to do like a flare. If you can do a flare on the ground, you can do the flare on the horse. It is hard as hell. Like it is unbelievably hard. Especially you watch the Olympics, the things that these people do to stay on there for minutes at a time, like no way, like seconds is hard.
Yeah, man, that's what I try to do. You know, a lot of movement work and just work my body around my opponent, especially with the striking. It's a dance, you know, out there. You gotta, it's a chess game. You know, I'm trying to figure the other guy out. And same thing on the ground. Like as soon as I get a hold of somebody, you know, I can feel my body and wrap my body around them. I can close my eyes and work around based on where their hips go. I know where to go, you know, and I feel like that all comes with movement and working it for so many years. So.
Makes sense, bro. Makes sense. It's all a chess game. Number 2, here we go.
Who is your favorite fighter of all time?
You called it already, GSP.
There you go. There you go. I don't know if you saw that.
Dude, Khabib did a lot. Ben keeps talking with me and Khabib and all this stuff, but Khabib was just a powerhouse. I feel like he literally just ran through everybody, you know. And like if you watch his fights, GSP, I think he did it. I don't want to say when it was harder back in the day, and he came back and did it again. So
he did.
And GSP won fights in more ways than Khabib did. I think that
he got in more battles too. Like you can tell.
You know what? We could go on for hours about that one.
Yes, we could.
I was just gonna say, how many more fights does Kamaru need to win before we start talking about him him over GSP? But we won't do that. That will be a whole nother show. Number 3, if somebody handed you a briefcase and told you there's a 50-50 chance there's $1 million in there or a bomb that'll explode when you open it, are you gonna open that briefcase?
Nah, probably not. I'm not money crazy, man. I don't need. I don't know. I don't know if I would risk it at this point. No, but maybe, probably not.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, funniest thing you've seen happen in your gym. A funny story, can be anything, but something that you just were like, wow, that was pretty fucked up.
Oh boy. Huh. It's not really funny, but I guess a wrestling coach, he always likes to just pressure. When he shows the moves, he like shows them 100% pressure. So literally a couple hours ago, we were just training and he was showing me like a neck crank, basically with the forearm on the neck on your throat. And he was showing to the guys, and he was using me, and he's like, "You got to roll their Adam's apple," and he was rolling my Adam's apple up. Yeah. I'm like, "I get it." I couldn't breathe, and he was right on top. I don't know.
Nah,
it's not really funny, but he thought it was funny. He does it all the time.
I'm sure he gets a kick out of it. I had a wrestling coach at NFA back in the day in high school who had one hand, right? He had one good hand, and on this hand, he had a fucking what do you call the congenital amputee? He was born without a hand, but he had these 2 little nub fingers on the end, right? And this motherfucker loved jamming them shits in your mouth. Just fucking, dude, he'd crossface you, boom, and that little fucking nub would get caught in the corner of your mouth, and he'd fucking be on top of you, riding your ass, just laughing his ass off. I'd be like, you fucking sick fuck.
Yeah, he would show it like 3 times, and then the other guy would try, and he'd be like, "No, this is how I do it," and he would literally do the same thing and press it down. He's like, "You got to roll the Adam's apple," and he would roll it up. I'm like, "We get it."
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want anybody rolling my Adam's apple.
All right, last question. Would you rather? You're not fighting. Would you rather be watching boxing or MMA?
MMA.
MMA, because that's what you do.
I like boxing. Like, I love watching Canelo, but I don't know. Watch Jake Paul too, but we can talk about that all day too.
Yeah. There's all these topics, man.
They can just gonna come in MMA.
You know what? I saw him training. I saw him training,
but not against MMA fighters, against boxers.
Dude, he's gonna be smart, man. He's gonna pull it. I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry, you got it.
No, but the thing is about Jake Paul and his brother Logan. Now, Logan was better than Jake, but Logan was like an all-state wrestling champion.
I remember that.
Jake also wrestled. So Jake, whether he was an all-stater or not, he has a wrestling background. He's an athlete.
Yeah.
He can strike with his hands. And in the videos, it does look like he can kick pretty good. So, you know what I mean? If this kid does take grappling serious and get a year of jiu-jitsu under his belt, and
if he puts his mind to it, man, I believe it. I mean, time is everything. Time is all we have. So whatever you put your time into it, you can do it. Like I put my time in bodybuilding. I did it. I'm putting my time in this. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it better than anyone out there. And I think he's doing it smart. A lot of people are hating on him, but
he's got the resources to go wherever he wants to. He can go anywhere he needs to go. So he can train with anybody.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. You just put the time into it. And I'm sure he'll pick smart MMA fighters, that he can beat or he thinks he could beat, and go from there.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be fighting a Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, So it's the same thing in boxing. He's going to start off with somebody who might want to do MMA, and that'll be like the first fight, somebody that's popular, and then he'll go from there.
But he has to fight a pro, right? Because once you go pro in one combat sport, you're a pro.
Yeah.
So he can never go fight
Right.
some amateur MMA guy. He's got to fight a pro somewhere.
That doesn't matter though.
That's why he's like trying to hook up with like Bellator or one of those guys, because you know Bellator will feed him somebody that he can beat up on.
We've seen some silly shit.
You've seen
Yes, I have.
Put me in there with him.
Yeah, there you go, man. You'll fight him.
Shit, I know, right? Anyone fight him for the payday.
Yeah, it's like Mike said, the kid's got a boatload of money and time, and he devotes all his money and time into training, which I mean, love it or hate it, man, he's doing all right for himself. He's no Stunad. I said he's a Stunad a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's no Stunad.
I take it
no
back.
Stunad. Look at me. I'm a Stunad.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, hey, we're going to give you a minute, shout some people out, thank anybody you want to thank, and then we'll let you get out of here, all right?
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Shout out you guys for having me on here. Appreciate it. Shout out my gym, UA. Always training there. Shout out my girlfriend, family, friends. Shout out Ben, too. He's always talking shit. I love it. And everyone supporting me, man. Appreciate it. Tune in on Friday, a week from tomorrow. We're ready to go, and I'm excited, and see you guys there.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody check his social medias at the bottom. Follow this man. He's been smiling since he got on here. He's got a great personality. He's got a lot of skill, and it looks like he's got a very bright future ahead of him. We will see you January 20th at the weigh-ins, and then we'll get to see you tussle on the 21st. There it is, people. Tune in, cagewarsmma.com. Get the pay-per-view. Watch the fights. Mike and Mitch will be there live watching this guy in action.
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. I'll see you.
Take it easy.
Let's go.